Hello, and on today's show, we're talking about Eddie Kingston and Bobby Fish, both of whom have come out recently and talked about their struggles both mentally and physically. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, this is WWA Wrestling with Adversity, and this is the Kickout Show. So, straight into it with Eddie Kingston, the recent return of the Mad King. He's now teamed up with Hook, no doubt for tutelage and guidance, and they're both rough, gritty kind of wrestlers, that New York background, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do together. I'm kind of glad that he's out of the Ops. The Ops have turned heel now, and let's see what they do in the future. But yeah, Eddie Kingston, so really damaged his leg. I think he broke it, tore his ACL. Struggled apparently with having health insurance. The doctors weren't saying it was looking very good. He could be out for a year, and all of that pressure on him, when in the past he's openly admitted that he's had alcohol abuse problems, and which is something I know a lot about, and binge eating, which is something else I know a lot about. And those two things are, they're always some kind of cover up. It's used as a suppressant to push something away, to push something down, you know. I know when I drank a lot, it was disguised as boredom or disguised as fun, doing something fun, but really deep down it was, I wasn't happy with who I was, what I felt like. I couldn't let those feelings come to the surface. And then again, if it wasn't alcohol, especially since I got sober, that those first few months up to a year, it became food, it became sugar. I still needed something when times got hard and things got rough and things were getting out of control. It was like, oh shit, I need biscuits, I need cake, I need like a takeaway or something like that. And what you notice is it never really takes it away. It's only a short-term solution. You just sit in that for a while, and then the regret comes and, oh, I should do something else. So then you start getting into your head that you're going to get fit, you're going to look after yourself, and then you fall into the trap again. And it's just a constant shame cycle, beating yourself up all the time for not doing what you think you should have, and then having to cover up the emotions and try to feel better. So it's really rough. So Eddie's talked about being away and wanting to quit 8 times while he was away from AEW. Now, I can imagine how difficult that is. You know, we don't see it. We get on with our lives. We're watching wrestling. We're watching AEW weekly or WWE weekly. And we forget that behind the scenes, they're really doing something. They're really going through something. They're going to physio. They're going to the gym. Or they're sitting at home. And he talked about being alone when his partner wasn't there and feeling isolated. And just sitting there, his leg wasn't getting better like he'd hoped. His career, all these self-doubts start coming into your mind, all these intrusive thoughts that you're not good enough anyway. No one gives a shit if you go back or not. This is never going to heal. You've been through this before, and this is too many. This is too many this time. I know he's had lots of surgeries in the past, and it's so difficult to self-motivate, to keep going in those dark times, especially when you feel alone and isolated. And he said he sat there 8 times he wanted to quit, 8 times he thought, no, I can't do this. And even though he's had mental health struggles, even though he's had substance abuse, addiction, and whatever else traumatic is happening in his life, I don't know much about his younger life. That's the counsellor in me wanting to know what happened to him as a child. But with that on top of everything, to still come back, to still put yourself out there in front of the world. I know he gets shit sometimes about his wrestling and his promos. I think he's great. He's got a great brutal side to him, and his promos are brutal, and you know he means business when he's on it. But also his comedy side. I think he has some great comedy, did some great stuff with Moxley. I loved the botch that they did in the Texas Death Match, where he lay over the top of Moxley to protect him and all the fireworks went off and whatever, but they didn't. I think they just pooped. And he pretended to be knocked out and whatever, but he come out afterwards and said something like the trauma of it, trying to protect Moxley, is what knocked him out. I thought that was brilliant. So yeah, I think there's a great future for Eddie if he can stay fit and look after his mental health. And he says the two are linked for him. He does say for everybody, he says the two are incredibly linked. And I think there's a truth to that. I think when your body feels like it's quitting on you or it's breaking, it can lead you down a dark path where the mind will follow. But I think it's important to remember, no matter what he's been through, he still kept going. I'm sure he looked for support out there as well from friends and family. And that's what I want to offer here on this channel, is that support, so you can do what Eddie's done. Pick yourself up each time. It's not about falling. I say it at the end of every show. It's not about falling. We all fall. We all fall regularly. I fall regularly. It's not about that. It's about falling and then assessing, okay, what happened? This is what happened. This is what I can do, and get back up and try again. Because that is what turns you into unbeatable. That's what keeps you moving forward. It's not about the falling part. That's going to happen anyway. And that's what happened to Eddie. And he got back up, and here he is. Straight back into a tag team. Straight back into a story at one of the biggest shows in the world. Also, I wanted to talk about, he mentioned that he hates wrestling tribalism. And I was so glad that somebody said that. Because I'm sick and tired of it. I understand it. I understand this football teams, my team versus your team, or my country versus your country in sport and other things. And that's fair enough. And it's okay supporting your brand, or Nike versus Adidas. I prefer Nike, I prefer Adidas, or whatever. But it's when it comes down to this almost bitter wanting to destroy another brand, wanting them to fail, tearing down their owners, tearing down their wrestlers. It's like, what is it in you that so badly wants to see something else fail just because it's not the thing that you love? You do know that WWE doesn't care about you as an individual. You do know that AEW doesn't care about you as an individual. They don't know you're sitting there being bitter and fighting with people online. All you're doing there is messing with your own mental health. Why would you do that? This isn't tribal. This isn't a war. If you prefer WWE, brilliant. Have at it. It can be great. If you prefer AEW, have at it. It can be great. New Japan, all the independents, you know, I don't see why you're fighting. I don't see what the war's about. Yes, it's brilliant to sit, and I listen to some channels myself, and it's talking about what a company's doing wrong, what they're doing right, and we love that, don't we? That's the part of wrestling that we love. Me and my son, we sit there, we go, oh, that was crap, or oh, he's doing so well right now, oh, he's ran with a story that you thought was useless, but he's done something with it. She's risen to the top. She's changed companies and doing really well. That's okay. The problem is when you're trying to tear something else down. Once you get in that mindset of trying to tear things down, you're just in a destructive mindset. Who else are you going to tear down? Do you tear down your friends? Do you tear down people you see walking around the street? Because if you do, that will eventually turn in on you. You'll then begin to believe that people are trying to tear you down, that they want you destroyed. And it turns into this mental health issue that you just don't need. So try and spend some time lifting people up, bigging things up. If you don't want to watch AEW, WWE, don't watch it. That's okay. But you don't have to watch it. Try and tear it down. Go on the internet. Talk about how crap it is and say, oh, I hope this company folds. It's crap. There's no one in the stadium. Look, they're rubbish. I hope the owner fails and they lose all their money and all this kind of stuff. It's mental. And that's what Eddie was talking about. It's okay to love two things. It's okay to love one thing. It's okay to love five things. I love pro wrestling. I'm not a massive fan of New Japan, only because the crowd is very quiet. It's like traditional over there. Like they applaud things. I don't know. I think my son might have said that was only since COVID, but I'm not sure. But it's quite subdued, even though they've got amazing wrestlers and had some of the best wrestling matches in history. I also don't watch many indies. I'm trying to get back into TNA. Used to love it back in the day when Samoa Joe was there, when AJ Styles was there, Beer Money, all that kind of stuff. It was amazing. Aces and Eights, one of the best storylines I can remember. So yeah, I want to get back into that, but I don't want them to fail just because they're not AEW or WWE. I didn't want AEW to fail when they went off the ball for a while. I've supported WWE since I was a nipper. I don't want them to fail. I want them to do better because I know how great it can be. Some of the greatest moments in my life watching TV have been watching WWE. Most notably has just popped into my head there. Edge, his return at the Royal Rumble. That nearly blew my tits off. I'm not joking now. I was sat on the settee. You think you know me. Wow. Lost my shit. Jumped up off the settee. Oh my God. Looked at his face. It gives me goosebumps now thinking about it. The way he took that breath and had a look around standing in his stance. Oh, what a moment. So yeah, I think WWE could do better. That doesn't mean I want them to fail. I think storylines in AEW sometimes can fall off. And I want them to do better. But I don't want to tear people down. I don't want to tear industries down, companies, brands. Have at it. You know, there's people employed there. There's real lives behind those characters. And like I say, it always comes back to mental health for me. That if you get into the mindset of trying to tear things down all the time, it will turn inward eventually. So please look after yourself and don't follow along these trends of tearing down. Have your opinion, of course. Say things can be better. Say things are great. But just be mindful of that tearing things down. It's a bad habit to get into. Just to finish up then, Bobby Fish also came out recently and talked about how difficult it's been for him away from the ring. And struggling a bit with his mental health and his physical health, and how again those doubts creep in that people even want you there. And he said he got such support from the fans. He's put his body through so much over the years, and sometimes you think, wow, has it been for nothing? You know, you wake up in the morning, you hear people like Shawn Michaels saying, I'm just happy if I can walk in the morning. You know, we don't realize the brutality. I know a lot of you do, but a lot, just like me, sometimes I forget. Hitting that mat, it's hard, man. You think it's soft, it's not. Hitting those ropes night after night, getting moves done on you, constantly sitting down on your ass, and that pressure on the spine and stuff. These guys are going through a lot. And then when you're away from the ring and the lights stop shining and the crowd stop cheering, you know, you've got to deal with that pain and that suffering. And I hope for Bobby Fish that he does what he says he's going to do, which is a new YouTube channel. So I advise everyone to check that out and see what he's talking about and the behind the scenes that he says is coming. So I'm looking forward to checking that out too. So hopefully, guys, you got a nice roundup today of these two guys and their battles, and most notably that they didn't give up. They're still going, and that's what's most important. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like and subscribe. Join the school community where we're going to have lots of fun. We're going to be talking about mental health. I do one-to-one coaching, but also there's going to be fun. There's going to be wrestling games in there. Lots of chat about what's going on, and my son's going to be joining me soon on the lives on a Sunday. So really looking forward to that. So I hope you enjoyed the session. This has been the Kick Out Show, and remember, it's not about hitting the mat. It's all about the kick out. See you soon.